Hey, it's Missy Ballison, personal trainer and exercise physiologist for the past 25 years. And today I'm going to share some tips with you.
I want to show you the reasons that a sandbag is such a cool piece of equipment. And then I'm actually going to kind of unbox my new sandbag for you. So first of all, when you buy your sandbag, there's a company that I love. It's called Ultimate Sandbag. However, you can also make your own sandbag just by using a duffel bag. But I'm going to show you why these sandbags are awesome. And I just realized one of the sandbags I bought was a gigantic sandbag for my strong girls, or stronger girls. They're all strong. And so the one I am unboxing is huge. So I'm going to show you some exercises with my smaller one. So don't be intimidated about the size of the sandbag. So what it comes with is these liners. So this is the little inside liner that I'm going to fill with, or the bag that I'm actually going to fill with sand. I probably will actually use kitty litter because it's a little less messy. It's a little less, likely to slip out and make dust and whatnot. So when you buy your Ultimate Sandbag, it comes with two of these. So you have the option to, I can't remember, this particular bag I think goes up to like 80 pounds. So that means that each of these is about 40 pounds when filled with sand. You can also get sandbags that are filled with water as well, which makes kind of a cool, it's swishy, so that your balance has to change. And we'll talk about that in a second. But another one of the cool features of this particular sandbag, as opposed to a duffel bag, which again is an awesome way to mess around with the sandbags, is that it has tons of handles. So you can see on this sandbag, and they're really sturdy design. They're stitched, and it's just really sturdy, very comfortable grips on these. So we have handles that go up and down. We have one single handle for carrying like this, and then there are handles that go sideways like this. And I'll show you as I do the exercises. They also, this one is a little bit different, has holders. My other smaller ones have handles on the outside edge. But this one has holders. I think this is so that you can drag these. And let me show you something else cool that came with this. So this sandbag, that particular sandbag is so big and heavy that it came with these additional little carabiners, and you can hook this onto the sandbag and you can use it to drag the sandbag. So we can do lots of really cool exercises with this, because pulling exercises like that are really functional, and that's something we're going to talk about in a second, about one of the reasons why having a sandbag is such a great tool. So I think my favorite thing about using sandbags is that they're awkward, which is kind of funny, but they're not like your typical dumbbell that just when you pick it up, it's just going to stay there. Let me show you, for example. So here's my little pink sandbag that happens to match my outfit and my gym. And it's just, so many times we pick things up off the ground in our home or in our yard, especially in our yard, or maybe even at work, that aren't just one solid piece, right? So you can see my sandbag is kind of awkward and weird, just like picking up a bag of dog food or something like that. So here's the other kind of handle. So I can use my sandbag handles this way, really natural on my wrist. This particular one has handles on the outside. Like if I was going to pick up something in the garden, like a bag of compost in the garden, it's going to feel a lot like this. When I pick it up, it's going to sag in the middle. So functional training, basically, when you hear that word, functional training basically just means real life training. What are some real life exercises or movements that you do under a weird, awkward load like a sandbag? How many times have you gone to Costco and you had to pick up your big bag of kitty food and throw it over your shoulder to get it up on a high shelf, for example? This is one exercise that we use in the gym. We squat down, we pick it up, we do a little squat, we push it over, squat, and then drop it down. Because all of those movements are pretty realistic movements of things that or maybe they're a combination of movements that we might use in real life. So I have to say that using the sandbag is one of my, the awkwardness of it is one of my favorite things. It kind of takes us a little out of that comfort zone of the stiffness of a barbell or a dumbbell, which I love working out with those as well, but it's really nice to have a variety of equipment as well. So this kind of crosses over to that more real life, like real awkwardness of life, right? So another one that I like about this is that you get a lot of muscle fiber recruitment, and that's kind of fancy for basically just saying that you incorporate more muscle fibers when you're trying to balance something that's a little bit awkward, okay? So that combines my two favorite reasons. When I pick the sandbag up, let me give an example for you. dumbbell. It's really stiff and normal. I pick up my dumbbell. It's not too big a deal. My brain knows exactly what's going to happen with that dumbbell because it knows it's a fixed object and it's not super awkward and wobbly. So my brain knows this. It knows pretty much exactly which and how many muscle fibers it needs to recruit to get that job done. When I open up my sandbag, I'm not quite sure. Every time I pick the sandbag up from a different angle, it's going to feel a little different. So my body's like, oh, I need a few more of those muscle fibers over there and a few more of those over there, and it has to constantly make adjustments, okay? So you end up getting, especially when you add rotational movements, where I'm rotating this way, you end up recruiting more muscle fibers. When you recruit more muscle fibers, you're asking your body to expend more energy, so therefore you are increasing the metabolic demand or the impact on your body. Your metabolism has to increase as you're recruiting these more muscle fibers, and maybe these are muscle fibers you're not used to using. So this is good because now your body is adapting by incorporating new muscle fibers. So you're using muscles that you don't always use, especially when you combine some of these exercises like the squat, pick up, press overhead one that I showed you before, and that really is awesome for training you for real life activities. The other thing about sandbags that's awesome is they're pretty inexpensive. Like, I believe this sandbag, this pink one, cost me about 70 bucks. I think this gigantic one that I cannot wait to fill with tons of kitty litter, I believe this one cost about 100 bucks. I just bought 3 new sandbags for about, they were all varying prices because they were different sizes. And I think I only spent about maybe $225 on 3 sandbags and one that's gigantic plus those heavy pulling straps. So for a home piece of equipment, let's just say, I think that you can get, I think one of them I bought was a little on the smaller side for me to use as demo, and I believe it was only like 65 or 70 bucks. So pretty decent price for a piece of equipment that's so versatile, plus the fact that they come with 2 filters, so, not filters, 2 bags, so that, filler bags, excuse me, so that you can do, take one bag out quickly, and lighten the load for different exercises. So each sandbag has a zipper, and you just unzip it right along the line here and pull out one of the filler bags. If you are doing, maybe you're doing a lighter, like an overhead press where you can't use as much weight, you can drop the bag, unzip it, put another one in, and do a nice heavy squat exercise. So it gives you a little variety. I always open these up, and I have little like ankle weights and different things that I just throw in the bag to try to add a few extra pounds. So another thing you can do if you're making one of these at home out of your a duffel bag is fill varying size Ziploc bags with sand or kitty litter. I really recommend kitty litter. Duct taping it up and weighing them out so you know how much they are and just write on each bag. So then you've got maybe like a 5-pound piece that you can insert, a 10-pound piece that you can insert. So that's one way that you could try to make it at home. The only drawback to the ones at home is that, well, again, these are super sturdy fabric on the outside and they won't tear. But the varying grips is really, really handy that you can't necessarily get from making one at home. So I just love the fact that, number one, they're inexpensive. They're functional training, which is real life training. We recruit new muscle fibers and increase the metabolic demand. You can really get your heart rate up with some of these exercises that we do. We do a lot of cardio building exercises with the sandbag, strength pulling, pushing, all the rotational. Let me show you a couple. Another one I think is really important is grip strength. That's something we don't think about quite often, but it's really important for us to be working on grip strength, not only for opening the pickle jar at home, but if you're somebody that wants to work toward a pull-up, it's essential that you have good grip strength if you're going to do a pull-up. So let me show you a couple exercises you can do with these. So this one's it's on the moderately heavy side. One of my favorite is called the clean and press. And so I grab these handles, I squat down, pick it up, and I curl it, and I press it up overhead. Squat down, and then drop it. So we got all the muscle groups right there. You can imagine, I'm already out of breath from one. You can imagine if you do a whole minute of these, how your heart rate could get up there. So you can use this as kind of just a tool, as a toe tap tool. So here's my minute of cardio, for example. I might do something like that. I might do jumping over, and obviously you could do it without the sandbag, these couple of cardio exercises, but this is a way that you can incorporate some cardio moves in with your strength moves. Another one I love is the
lunge and rotation. So I'm gonna lunge back, rotate my sandbag, which is awkward because I'm trying to keep it from tipping over. Lunge forward and back. So you can see, I'm already clearly out of breath here. You can do upright rows with these. Elbows high, working the shoulders. Using this just one handle, you can take two really heavy sandbags and do walks, so farmer's walks. Really good for core stabilization, which pretty much is just load these sandbags up and walk for a good long distance, you know, several yards, 50 to 100 yards. Overhead presses are great with the sandbag, like so. This is things that you would do in the garden, in the yard. There's a shovel exercise, which is squatting. It's like a swing. We squat and swing. So many exercises you can do with the sandbag for such a great price, and so much variety. So I just wanted to introduce you to that. If you are a local, that is one of the tools that we're going to be using in the Be Right Back boot camp starting April 10th. And what I'm going to do with you guys is progress you. So if you've never, I'm so out of breath. So if you've never used a sandbag before, our first week is going to be the basic movements. You won't see much of that stuff. It's going to be basic movements with the sandbag, getting comfortable with the grips, and oh my gosh, learning how to use the tools, the sandbags, the jump ropes, the battling ropes, the resistance bands, and the medicine balls. So all of those exercises, all really unique exercises. So that particular boot camp is going to be great at rattling your cage and shaking things up to ask your muscles to do something new and different. Okay? All right, you guys, have a great day. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you.
Thanks for watching today. Don't forget to subscribe below so you can keep getting notifications of great fitness nutrition information. Feel free to visit my website at www.missyvallisonfitness.com for more.